Hello, right, it's really good to be back with the MTD Weekly Manufacturing Focus. Now, obviously, the COVID-19 pandemic still dominates news across the globe, and it will feature in our programmes, but we're going to be looking beyond that too, to the stories being made across the country as manufacturing starts up again after lockdown. And we're going to be turning the spotlight onto companies that will be behind the firing up of manufacturing across the country and across the globe, and talking to the people involved. And I'm really pleased that our first guest on the programme this week is Philippa Glover, who is the Managing Director at CNC Robotics. It's great to talk to you, Philippa. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's start then. Tell us about CNC Robotics, about the company, about its history.
Okay, so CNC Robotics is the UK's leading integrator specialising in machining applications, and this year we actually celebrate our 10th birthday, so we'll be 10 in July. We were founded by Jason Barker over 10 years ago when he was looking for a low-cost way to machine large parts for the theatre and film industry. So at the time he was looking at, whether you could use a robot to be able to do that. So he spent many evening and weekends playing around with robots and seeing whether he could turn that into a milling machine, and proved it successfully, Richard. So therefore CNC Robotics was born. He sold the set construction business, and we have been playing with robots ever since, supporting manufacturers across the world to really look at how they could use robotic technology in a strategic way to make their products in a cost-effective manner. We are a Platinum KUKA system partner, so throughout that whole journey, KUKA have been fundamental to us, been huge supporters and advocates of the work that we do, and we've now delivered over hundreds of systems using KUKA robot arms, and seen as a really leading kind of company within that area.
Well, Philippa, first of all, many happy returns and congratulations on the 10th anniversary. So let's look back over those 10 years and what we're doing now. How has robotics changed, and tell us what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I suppose we've always worked with clients who are looking to use robotics strategically within their business. And in the early days, we were working very much with the early adopters within the manufacturing community. But we've started to see a real shift and a real change within the manufacturing landscape. And I think this current situation has kind of almost brought more of the that to the forefront, and reminded people that the important role technology plays, both to businesses but also to society as a whole. The pace at which we're seeing kind of adoption of digital technology is really set to accelerate, and robotics and automation is at the heart of that. We are seeing more and more SME manufacturers across the UK and beyond Europe and across the world really embrace robotics and use it strategically within their business to really drive the business forward, creating further improvements in productivity and accelerating growth, which I think is great. And if anything, we're going to see more of that. So companies like CNC Robotics, are really going to be important, because what's really important when you think about robotics is finding someone who can help you on that journey, finding that trusted friend to enable you to really understand, what are the good projects to start with, and make sure that you learn as you develop that strategy.
You said right at the start that the company started being involved in filming and creative industries. What sort of things do you produce, though, then, for those industries? I mean, it's not R2D2, presumably.
No, it's not R2D2. So in essence, we provide them a milling machine. It's just that it's a robot. So we turn a robot into a milling machine that enables them to create large-scale parts, often with quite complex geometries. So I often talk about the Mission Impossible helicopter. So that was all machined and made using CNC robot systems down by BGI Supplies in Lancashire studio. And it's very much used by those individuals to produce large scale parts. They're in effect exact replicas of the real life machines. And that's no different actually to what is used within mainstream manufacturing. It's just that often those feature in high-end films versus within the high street.
Is that something you're still involved with?
Yeah, so we still work with the creative industries. So a lot of our clients are in that area, but we really have quite a diverse portfolio now, and it's very balanced across all of those industries. And I think we will see growth across all of the sectors, looking at using robotics as, I suppose, strategic machines.
Tell us about some of the other markets that you're involved with, some of the exclusive services, some of the exclusive products that you can offer.
Yeah, so CNC Robotics are specialists in providing machining systems. So, like we talked about, we basically turn a robot into a milling machine, and we can also do work in the additive manufacturing sense. So we work with clients across industries within aerospace, who might be looking at lightweighting and machining carbon fibre, and looking at a cost-effective way to be able to do that. And that can obviously be applied across all other sectors who are probably using the material rather than the sector. We work with clients in the education industry, so we've got systems at the Royal College of Art, the University of Liverpool, and a local college within the city region. And also kind of mainstream manufacturing. So we've kickstarted a project with a local manufacturer here within the city region, who is just looking strategically at using a CNC system instead of a more traditional tool. So it really is quite diverse. And actually, I would say that we don't really focus on a specific sector. We are seeing an increasing amount of demand within the composites industry. So we recently joined Composites UK to further, I suppose, develop that offering that we do with those clients. And I suppose showcase what robotics can do.
Now, as you, like ourselves, begin to emerge from lockdown, what sort of measures have you had to take to make sure your company is ready for the post-COVID-19 environment? Yeah,
I think that's a really good question. So, I suppose as a business leader, what was really important to me was to make sure that we really focus commercially on the business. So, we have maintained momentum. Yes, we're doing the majority of our work virtually, and some of that will remain because we can do a lot of virtual design and development work virtually. But we have done thorough risk assessments and put in place kind of COVID plans to enable us to continue to build and install and commission the systems that we design and develop. And this week we've done our first installation during lockdown, which has been really successful. And we just worked collaboratively with the client to make sure that everyone was comfortable with the risk assessments and that we were doing everything in line with government guidelines. I have a feeling that that's going to continue for a period of time. Obviously, we don't know when we're going to get out of that lockdown situation, but I think as a business, we've got a really robust plan. And that's in part down to the team. The team have been incredible here, Richard. We couldn't have maintained that level of commercial momentum that we have without such a fantastic team behind us who are absolutely behind everything that we do and have worked with kind of conviction remotely, and coming into the office in kind of more of a shift type pattern, which is very different to how we previously operated.
We've, prior to lockdown, two of the big topics, of course, were Industry 4, 5G. Are those sort of things helping you at the moment as you look to move forward following this period?
Yeah, so absolutely. So it's interesting. I think people have been talking less about Industry 4, which is probably a good thing because often people have been seeing it as a buzzword, and they've been talking more about the individual technologies that kind of form part of Industry 4. And I suppose like we've touched on, robotics is a key area of focus, both within the industrial strategy, but also across manufacturers to really look at how they work smarter and more effectively. I think absolutely we will see more and more interest in the work that we do, and I suppose also I'm personally really quite passionate about this area, and I'm fortunate to sit on the Industrial Strategy Challenge Fund Manufacturing Made Smarter Advisory Group. So that isn't kind of with a focus on robotics. That's more about trying to champion SMEs and really make sure that when we're having those conversations, we're also thinking about the SME community and ensuring that future strategies kind of include a focus of how do we support SME manufacturers to get on the digital journey, and what does that look like? And I think there will be more to come that will come out of that to really encourage people to do that. One of the things that I think is quite interesting, I don't know if you've seen the government kind of scrappage scheme that they've been talking about. I think that's something that, so Medina, who's part of the team here at CNC Robotics, one of the director, has really been talking about and pushing in terms of, we need to see more encouragement for the manufacturing community to, I suppose, scrap old equipment and look at digital technologies to encourage them to really look at investing to drive their business forward and I suppose build that resilience into their operations.
That's really interesting. I mean, do you think, you haven't stopped throughout the whole of this period. Do you think then that this actually could lead to new specific opportunities for the companies that do come through?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, so those companies that I suppose have remained focused and have continued to, really develop and invest in their services, I think will do really well as a result. I think those companies who have been significantly affected because they are quite kind of sector focused, and maybe that whole sector has been kind of wiped out as a result, there's a real opportunity now to innovate. If you look at past recessions, out of uncertainty comes great innovation, and it really makes you question and makes you think about, how should you do things, and whether there's different ways you can do things. So I think those individuals and those companies who tackle it with that mindset, will be okay, and they will survive, and they will grow, but they might actually end up growing in a very different area to what is physically written down on their business plan. And that's where it comes down to the strength of leadership, doesn't it, Richard? Right now, no one had a pandemic on their business plan. I know I certainly didn't. But what it's demonstrated is the importance of having leaders who can think strategically on their feet, and to be able to really respond to ensure that the business has got a solid plan to not only just deal with the here and now, but also how do you sustainably kind of grow out of this and I suppose learn from it.
Great. Let's talk about something else. This was actually being focused on prior to any pandemics, the importance of apprenticeships. And just recently we've heard the government talking about how apprenticeships are going to be, if anything, even more important moving forward. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got an apprentice here at CNC Robotics. He's coming up to his first birthday. And he's a really valuable member of the team. He's a great asset, and he is a real future talent. And I think apprenticeships is it's a great way to actually get into, I suppose, the bones of a company, and to be able to really understand how things work, and to add significant value as you progress throughout your career. Degrees are really, really important. And what Brandon is doing for us is actually a degree apprenticeship. So he's doing a very high level apprenticeship, based on, I suppose, the area of industry that we work in. And we need to do more to encourage young people to not just look at traditional kind of routes, but look at apprenticeships as a way to get into industry and to, I suppose, really hit the ground running. And I think those who do apprenticeships will be ahead of the curve, because they will have so much life experience, that they will become more valuable to employers moving forward.
So lots of opportunities out there. Tell us now a little bit about Factory Now, Philippa.
Yeah, so we're incredibly proud to be a founding member of Factory Now, which is a new platform developed by Jefferson and MTD Manufacturing, launched to really help the British manufacturing sector during the pandemic, but also beyond. So, it's really, really important that we work together as a community. And this initiative really kind of supports innovative organisations to collaborate and engage, and learn from each other. So we've got a section on the Factory Now site to really share case stories, kind of best practice, news articles, to help organisations who are looking for technology, to kind of find information and really encourage them to starting that journey. It's an absolutely fantastic initiative. I would encourage anyone, if they haven't already made themselves aware of Factory Now, to check out the website and see how they can get involved.
Brilliant. Philippa, it's been such a pleasure talking to you, and your passion is fantastic. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on the 10th anniversary, and I hope we can get to talk again soon. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Richard. Take care.